everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to day 31 of the art unit. Crazy how we're already here. Alrighty, so today we got a couple things to do today. Two things. One is this, go over the quiz answers. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys the correct ones. Okay, so if you were wrong, you are going to do some quiz correction. Today we're going to go over which are the right answers. And then after that, we're going to shift over to our painting. Okay, I'll go over what materials you'll need in a second. I have them laid out right now. So, yeah, we'll get into this in a little bit. Right now, let's dive into question number 1, which was, what is the definition of foreground? Okay, so if you picked B, you are correct. It's what's depicted closest to the reader / the subject. Question number 2, definition of a midground. So if you picked D, subjects depicted in the middle of the scene in front of the background / setting. If you picked that, you are correct. Question number 3, what is the definition of a background? If you picked A, the objects that are furthest away from the reader, usually conveying setting / contextual details. If you picked that, you are correct. And the other answers are meant to throw you off. I made this quiz kind of hard. I'm not sure if we're going to have other quizzes or not. I might say that for the next unit, we'll have quizzes and tests, a lot more, and a writing piece. So we might save the test till next unit, but I'm not too sure. Maybe it'll just be like an open-ended question that we will submit. So question number 4, how did we draw the hair? If you picked C, we drew black hair going down, then curls back up. You were correct. Question 5, how do we draw the eyes? If you picked A, oval-shaped eyes with oval inside and a dot for the eye, you were correct. Again, the other answers are meant to throw you off. How did we draw the nose? If you picked D, a line going down and curves inwards, you are correct. How do we draw the mouth? Okay, if you picked A, went up and down the same for bottom part of the mouth, you are correct. Question 8, what is the perfect background? If you pick B, a background that conveys a message to the reader by color and we can understand what is being told. If you picked that one, you were correct. The other ones, again, are meant to throw you off. Okay, so if you picked another one, well, throw you off. Question 9, if you wanted to make a background from our book that conveyed sadness because of this tough time, what colors would you use? If you picked A, gray, most likely in characters' faces are sad, and we'd add objects in the background that fit the message, you are correct. A really dark blue background wouldn't really work, obviously, because it doesn't convey sadness. If you look up, I believe blue does convey sadness in some sort of way, some sort of context. But gray, if you want to like focus on sadness, gray is your color. And then the background includes characters crying, tears on to the floor. Yes, partially. If you did pick that, you were sort of correct, but you won't get credit for it. Yes, characters crying could work, but here's the thing, that wouldn't really work. That wouldn't really be the correct answer because it doesn't really convey a sad background. It gives a idea that this might be sad, but we don't really know what's doing. That's we have to. And then for the open-ended question, why are backgrounds so important to be taught in practice in art? Not just in our art unit, but in general. Why do they need to be taught / practiced? Also, give your own definition of the perfect background. Okay? So, this is an open-ended question. Okay, this will be turned in when we turn in our notes. So you'll just paste your response here. I am looking for AI responses. So if there's an AI, I'll delete those. So just warning you there. So hopefully you answer this question, and let's go ahead and now move on to our slides here. First question. And luckily it's only one of the slides today. Alright. Our goal today is to draw the background behind the character. So what you see behind Anne. Again, we're ignoring the family members because, again, why would we be ignoring the family members? It's because that's too many people to draw. 1, 2, 3, that's family, everyone would. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 7 people. Less than 8, so that would be too many people to draw. So we're ignoring our family. We're just gonna treat this as a normal background. So we're gonna try to do the ladder behind Anne and then put Anne in front of the ladder. It's gonna be a little bit tough to do, but we're gonna try to figure it out. We might just put the ladder on the top of the paper and then do something like this. And then put some more black on the top. Yep, I'm gonna go over what we're gonna be using for that. Is that goes that like closes off the doorway, and then we add the text here. And then draw the character. Okay, we're gonna draw the character's face, hair, their clothing, their hands. Not too detailed again. And then finally the desk, right? We're gonna draw the desk, and we might draw like the scissors and maybe but in all red, not the pattern. I don't know. We'll see today. Today's gonna be a long video today because we are going to our meeting. Okay, so today is kind of our wrap-up day. Tomorrow is submission day. So I'm gonna be looking forward to that. And without further ado, let's head over to our document. And I'm gonna go over our studio. Alrighty. So 1 second. So I have all my materials laid out. Yeah, it's really hard to point. But I have them laid out right beside me here. So I have the book, obviously, so we're gonna use it as a reference. I have a pencil. I have the 2 markers we're gonna use for the face and the clothing. I have a black and gray marker, paintbrush, and obviously there's different sizes of paintbrush I might use. This is what I'm going to use to close off this border thing. Just a Posca marker to save food. So if you don't have your materials, I'd recommend go round up your materials, and I'll give you guys a second to do that. And then that's it. We'll need paper towels, and then I'll let you guys know when you need the water. Not quite yet. So we're gonna start off with pencil sharpener two special with the ladder. And I think we're just gonna put it in the top right corner. Okay, because it's in this cover. And I apologize if this video is like 50 minutes long, okay? We're finishing the cover. So it's gonna take a long process. We don't really see we don't get to see the ladder touching the floor because Anna's in front. That's what the image we're trying to get here. So we're just gonna draw it kind of in the top corner. Okay, because that's what we're trying to get here. And then the windows that has the sky in it. I'm not too sure why they don't have curtains. And then while we're doing this, I'm gonna talk a little more about the Holocaust, basically what happened, who they were targeting and stuff. It was really sad. One thing I did forget to mention is that it wasn't just the Jews. If you were old, if you were like elderly, if you were disabled, um, if you were disabled, if you were elderly, like old or sick, you die instantly. Because in Hitler's mind, it's basically if you're old, if you're elderly, if you're disabled, you have no potential, right? If you can't be on Earth anymore because you can't do anything, you gotta die, right? That's his mind. If you were Jewish, you gotta die because I think part taking this is Hitler's blamed Jews for losing the war because they did lose the war and they surrendered. But also because he thought like, oh, Jews have like these and so yeah. It wasn't just the Jews he targeted, he also targeted communists, I'm pretty sure. Because his party was like his wasn't he didn't support that. And anyone politically against him, if you were against Hitler and the Nazis, you were killed. Okay? If you were against him, if you didn't like Hitler, his ideas, his beliefs, or the Nazis, gone. So yeah, there's that. Anything I forget to mention, I'll put them in the description. And you can skip past this if you don't want to hear me yet. We're gonna also mention the selection process. I'm not too sure how this worked, but if I'm wrong here, comment down below. Basically, they separated men and women into different lines, or like men, women, for example. But I think men like women, but I'm not too sure. And then a doctor came out and separated you. A doctor was a man, obviously, Nazi doctor, came out and examined you for a few seconds. I think it was like 5 or a few seconds. If I don't know right or left, what right meant, what left meant, but basically, if you were sick to them, if you were like, if you looked unwell, even if you weren't unwell, you looked unwell to them. Even if you weren't old, you looked old to them. Okay, so they're like inside, even though they're not old or they're not unwell. But if you are to them, gas chamber, right? Into the gas chamber. If you were the opposite, you got a chance to live and you had to do labor work. So that sucked for them. Comment down below if I'm wrong. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we have a little bit more context of what the Holocaust was. We're gonna do the ladder kind of like right here. And we're gonna leave the rest of this like obviously. You can see kind of like a blue thing on the cover. That might be the entrance of the door wall. So we might just ignore that. I'm not too sure. Or when we get to the painting process, I'll find a blue and I'll like put lines of blue to kind of represent that. All right. This is going to be the ladder right here, and we're just gonna have like that. And then the window off to the side, it's gonna be a small window. We're gonna cram in there. Right here, we can do it like it's not touching the black. Either way. Yeah. Even though it's not realistically that spot. But it's whatever. When we start painting, I'll paint in those windows. For now, let's go ahead and do the character. Anne. And this is going to be really hard to do because we need to put her hand on the table. So that might be really, really tricky to do. I'll give you guys a second to kind of touch up here. I'm just gonna have to kind of guess where her hand is gonna go. Or um, like deciding. Like I thought I decided this during the video, right? Like, how are we gonna get her hand to reach the desk is what I want. Not gonna be perfect. If you're not at my point, go ahead and catch up. This already looks terrible. Apologies if it looks bad. I'm not like an art artiste when it comes to characters. So I apologize about that. I'm more of an artiste when it comes to this stuff. Right over here, the landscapes, the pop art stuff more that kind of artist. Um, oh yeah, ink art and your landscape art. So not a pro at characters as you can tell. So don't comment on it. I know it looks bad, but we're gonna go with it. Next unit we probably won't character about. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention down here I have paint palette and paint. Get the pencil and we're gonna draw on the nose. If needed, we can go in with an outline. Crooked nose, but it is, you gotta remember it is connected to that right eyebrow, so it has to be perfect. I mean, I looked at it, but it is. Not the best now. It's not looking like Anne. Uh-uh. Alright. Loading now. Now, working up. Bad. So bad. Again, my characters look like stick figures, so. Triangle. Oh my god. Whatever. Whatever. It's. I thought I was gonna do. I was doing like holy shit that, but I don't know if we can like. No, those are not connected. Now it doesn't really look like it's on. This is supposed to be the head. This is supposed to be the neck. So I don't know. Don't comment on it. Any rude comments on this will be deleted. Yeah, no, really. I shouldn't have been a third button, but as you can see in the book, there is kind of a third button there. Uh, so we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna practice hitting three buttons. So it's all good. All right. Let's before we do anything with the arms, let's go ahead and get the paint. So I'll be back with y'all when the paint is all set up. Paint situated here, kinda. All right, so what we're painting here is we're just gonna paint the desk, and then that's it. Okay, so you can put your gray marker away. Your actually maybe keep your gray out. Make keep your black out. Just put these two aside. What you will need though is brown paint. And again, if you don't have paint, again, get the go ahead and get the markers. Also, I totally forgot that we were supposed to close out the book with black birds and then do the background. Whoops. So we're doing a modified version of it. So there's that. And I don't really need a paint palette today, so you put your paint palette back in the bag, because we won't need that today. Or if you're using liquid paint, then you will need. And if yours looks a lot better than mine, submit it. Okay. You can't see what I'm doing always. And also, the reason why I chose paint instead of the Posca marker is because the paint, I try to match it with the desk color the best. So it looks like the paint did. But so far it's not working the best. And to all the perfectionists out there, don't worry about it being perfect. Obviously, you can see in the cover it's perfect, but you don't need to match that to or ever. Okay, so go ahead and let this dry. Okay, give it a second to dry, and um, then we'll meet back when it is all dry. Settled, so that way we can go ahead and paint the arm and finish on up. For last little bit here, you can put away your paints. Okay, I started cleaning up already. Now, here's where these will come into play. Not your red one, actually, the red one now. But first, what I've started doing on the bottom, okay, is I've started putting the text in where it says adapted by Ari Fullman, illustrations by David Polanski. And then the part, I know it looks messy on top because I didn't do it correctly, so I just did Anne Frank's Diary, the graphic adaptation. So it looks a little bit messy. Again, it's the modified version, so. And then the background here, it's gonna remain white. Okay, it's just gonna remain white here. I don't really know what to put it. And also it's kind of really hard because you got the character. The character can't be blended. So, it can't be blended in with the background. So, only parts we gotta finish is the arm. Yeah, sure, let's draw the book. And she's putting her arm onto the book, and then her her hand onto the book. So let's do. If you're finished, you can go ahead, skip ahead, on the video. I don't really care. We're gonna try to do that bottom one. Okay, that's gonna represent her diary. Okay, her hands are going on top of that. I know you can't really see the hands. They're kind of grabbing the book. Okay, it's not really on top of each other. They're just kind of grabbing it. Okay, let's turn the program to like. Oh my god, that looks like a okay. I promise y'all it's not what it these are scissors. These are supposed to be scissors. And this is supposed to be the photograph. Okay. And then this is all good. This really, really fishy. Um, I don't really know what else to add. Oh yeah, we need to add her head. And it's on her top hand. Or just be like that with the ink. All right. And that's gonna be it. um, I'll give you guys another minute here as I'm wrapping up. Yeah, if I try to like readjust the bad. And then lastly, take your pen here. Your pen. And flip to the back of the canvas. And you're gonna put a title. Okay, we're gonna put it in Frank. Hopefully this won't smudge, it will smudge. Artist. I'm gonna put my name. I'm gonna date. But that will smudge. All right. Take a minute to wrap up what you're doing. All right, and that is it for today. Um, swipe to clean off my workspace. um, that's gonna be it for today and for this unit. Tomorrow might be our second to last day. It's gonna be our submission day. And then probably April 2nd will be our test day. So really, really exciting. Next unit will not be as messy as this, I promise. It'll try to be like a way shorter unit, and I'll hear your guys' feedback for this next unit. So this is it. So tomorrow, or let me switch back to this camera. So tomorrow we're gonna submit this. Okay, we're gonna submit it. Not gonna show how yet. That'll be tomorrow. So hopefully subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications, so you listen to another video from me, and comment down below how your guys are doing. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the submission process. And then April 2nd might be the test day, but I'm not too sure quite yet. Or it will be before I get feedback from you guys for the next units. Alrighty, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.